Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you today with Wolverine issue 88. And I have to say that I can't believe that I finally have this book in my hands. This is one I've been hunting. And when I see it up on the wall at like comic shops and whatnot or online, I'm like, that the price tag on it makes my Ferengi blood scream and just hold on tight to my latinum. So with that said, I definitely need to give a shout out to Jess for hooking me up with this book. Had a lot of fun in your auction, so appreciate you putting this up, and so excited to have it and being able to review it. Now, with that said, I remember before I even knew anything about what this book was about, I just had seen it up on the wall, and I didn't quite understand the significance of it back in the day. However, I will say that during this era of Larry Hama, Adam Kubert, which was like that powerhouse time during the 90s, oh, I miss it. This is probably, thinking back, there's probably top three. There's so many. There's a lot, but if I have to narrow it down, the top three that I love was Wolverine 87. We'll start with the 3 spot, which was Wolverine 87, which was Gambit and Wolverine with the crosshairs on them. The next one will be Wolverine, or this one, which would be in the 2 spot. And then the number 1 cover for me would definitely, I believe it's Wolverine 77, which was shortly after Wolverine got his adamantium ripped out after the fallout of 75. And on the cover, it's him with his smashed claws from Cyber attacking him, and he's just holding him in absolute anguish. That cover has been iconic, and I still remember like the first time I saw it in 5th grade and thinking, what the hell's going on with Wolverine? And so yeah, and then I saw this one a couple years later, and then that Gambit Wolverine one, just them going through the skyline with the crosshairs. Just the 3 very memorable off the top issues that I remember and cherish. And we will be going over both those books eventually, but let's go through this one now that I've kind of had all this nice little, if y'all can't tell, I think I've had ample coffee today. Now, this book, oh my God. This is probably what you want to say, ultra violence and cocaine. Not really, don't do drugs. But look at it. Gorgeous splash page in true comic book fashion. Wade going over against Wolverine. Wolverine's in Canada to protect Kane and Vanessa. Vanessa, if you guys recall, is Wade's ex, and then Kane was also part of the Weapon X project, and him and Wade kind of had a falling out, so they hate each other. And Deadpool is like a hardcore assassin at this time in history when Nikezia and Liefeld introduced him. But before we get any more of this, the Deadpool folks, let's talk about who made this book. This was January 1990, December 1994. Derp. Larry Hama script, Adam Kubert and Fabio Laguna doing pencils, Mark Farmer and Tim Townsend doing inks, Pat Brosseau doing letters, Marie Javins colors, Bob Harris was the editor, and Tom DeFalco was the editor-in-chief. Frickin' all-star cast on this book, folks. And it shows. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look at the madness of Porky Deadpool. Oh, it's so great. And Wolverine comes into Kane's apartment so he could protect him. He's like, is anybody home? And friggin' Deadpool. Nobody home but us cold-blooded mercenary assassins. Hoo-ha! You wouldn't happen to, the glare is real, folks. You wouldn't happen to know where old shiny arms went off to with my ex-squeeze Vanessa, would you? I'd do you big a solid and put you out of your interminable misery, suffering. Logan's like, I don't accept no favors from big mouth upstarts, bub. And I wouldn't stomp on your face if it was on fire, let alone rat out Kane and his lady. Oh, that's how you start a freaking comic book. Not with, oh my God, we're going to talk about groceries. And like, even though we're like in the middle of a crisis inside Rachel Summers' head, we're going to talk about what we want for dinner. Yes, I'm still talking about that X Factor issue, folks. I hated it so much. And we're not going to talk about Loki. We're not going there. But look at this. Look at the pencil work, the colors, the inks, the paint, just the way that they paid attention to the anatomy. the paneling. You're not bored. Boom, 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 boom. And even though there's talking and they're goading each other on, you're invested. This is the Marvel way. That's why this book was one of the big talks back in the 90s, along with X-Men. And that's why X-Men and Spider-Man also just dominated the scene, because their books were consecutively fun and action-packed and had drama and everything that you would want. Especially Logan here. You're going to need your healing factor, bub. You just maxed out my tolerance level. And just look the way the blood's flying. They're slashing into each other. And here, and just look at how the splash pages are just boom, 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 boom in your face. And the classic Logan pose, it's just yum. This is how you comic. And then what also adds to the stakes here is, okay, Deadpool has a mutant healing factor. That's what kicked in and saved him from his terminally ill cancer and messed up his face. Logan has one, but this is only issue 88, so this hasn't been that long since Magneto ripped the adamantium from his skeleton, which was, I believe, in X-Men 25. And then Wolverine 75 was kind of like the fallout, and then he left the team because he felt, useless. So here, Logan's doing his best to try to keep up with the Merc with the mouth, but Deadpool's too fast, too young, and you find out that Logan's actually has to kind of lick his wounds because his healing factor is trying to catch up with his body. It's burned out to a degree. He's like, if I had taken a cut like that only a month ago, I'd have been worm munchies for sure. Good thing my old mutant healing factor is beginning to kick in again after it went into overload after Magneto ripped out my adamantium. Just where it should work a little faster. Deadpool was looking at this framed poster before he bugged out. I love this. I need a closer look. Too close. It's just little things like this. So Logan's saying that he has to get to Arcane, which when you look at this poster, it's like not a Cirque du Soleil. It's kind of it's a performing arts center. And Logan's like, I can't go dressed like this. So he grabs, it's either one of Kane's or Vanessa's kimonos, steps out in the middle of this freaking taxi guy. He's like, you trying to get killed or what? Wasn't sure if you'd stop for me. I've been driving a hack in San Francisco for 20 years. I've picked up a lot weirder than you. And then right here, just deadpan. Where to? The hospital or the Grand Guignol? If I pronounce that wrong, please feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. And of course, Logan chooses the theater. And I just love how the cabbie's like, it sort of reminds me of Ghostbusters when the police drop off Louis Tully at the station and Janine's just like dropping off or picking up. It just kind of has that same energy in that regard. So we get to the theater where Kane and Vanessa are. Deadpool's like, you thinking I'm going to let you two live? You're with my ex-squeeze and you and I have unfinished business. And again, we just go right back into more action after we get the stakes at hand. Kane's doing his best, but again, Deadpool here is like at the top of his game. And here, I love Larry Hama. To me, this is my personal opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But Larry Hama and Peter David, to a degree, have the same type of sense of humor. So if you go back and read the earlier, I think it's around issue, I can't remember if it's like 1450, but there's a run by Peter David. And even though the stakes, they're moving through Madripoor and stuff like that, there's still like that kind of little bit of slapstick humor to it. And here it's the same thing where Logan takes this cab and all of a sudden, just why not? The freaking brakes go out. And guy's like, I'm going to have to use my e-brake and I can't drop you off at the theater. It's like, we may be off a few blocks before I can try to stop this through deft maneuvering and skillful application of the emergency brake. Logan just slices the door, but I'm out of here. You want your fare, come by the theater. How hard can it be to skateboard? Little kids do it. Just ridiculous. And bust through the theater on the stupid cab door in just enough time to foil Wade's plans. What are the plans? What happens? I don't want to ruin too much of that. Needless to say, seeing Kane, Vanessa, and Wolverine go up against the Merc with the mouth in this book, just absolute fun. And actually seeing these two go at it for the first time in history, just freaking cherry on top. And then that Kubert cover right there just makes the whole thing shiny, if you know what I mean. So with that said, guys, if you've been on the fence about getting this book, the one thing I'm going to say with comics like this is the longer you wait, the more in value and what's that thing with money? Price, value, it increases, appreciates. So if you want this book, I'd highly suggest if you can get it for a good deal, grab it. It is worth it, especially if you're a huge X-Men, Wolverine fan, Deadpool fan like I am. This is a must-have for your collection. So I'd say please first and foremost support your local comic shop. And remember, I'm not sure all, but there are a lot of comic shops that will let you do layaway where you put down 20-30% and they'll give you like 6 months to pay it off. So it's cool, even though it may be a little too rich for your blood right then and there, at least you can do that, as where if you try to look like on Amazon or stuff like that, it is what it is. But sometimes you'll meet cool cats like I did here and got this for a really good deal through auction. Now, with all that said, if you guys have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Merc bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you on hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.